Hi, and welcome to another episode of Portland Real Estate Coach. I'm your coach, Joe Fostolo, and thanks for visiting back to my video podcast where you, the viewers, send in your real estate questions to me by email, voicemail, or video, and I answer those questions for you here. So before we dig in today, I wanted to say thank you for everyone who subscribed to my video podcast on iTunes. You can find it by entering Portland Real Estate Coach or Joe Fostolo. All the new episodes just go to you automatically. But you don't have to subscribe to see these videos. You can also go to portlandrealestatecoach.com and see these same videos. You just got to keep visiting back. For those of you who subscribe, thanks for all the positive feedback. If you can give me a 5-star rating, I would really appreciate it. And whoever left feedback and said, Joe, get yourself a microphone, well, I now have one, just like the news reporters, so hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear. So, let's dig in. Welcome to episode 5. We have an outstanding question today by one of my favorite people, Carolyn Stanley, who I love a lot. Let's listen to her question.
Hi Joe, what are some of the biggest mistakes that sellers make when they want to sell their home?
Thanks, Carolyn. What a fantastic question. I like that question for so many reasons. The first reason is, rather than simply asking, what are the steps I should take to sell my house, she asks from this keen perspective, what are some of the most common selling mistakes and pitfalls that sellers find themselves in their pursuit to having their house sell quickly for the most amount of money? Well, the very talking points that I use to answer these common selling mistakes are also going to support the reasons why you should do things correctly and follow those steps and shed some insight as to why they're important. The other reason why I think it's a great question is because any one of these talking points that I answer the common selling mistakes could be its very own Portland Real Estate Coach episode. So if any of you would like me to elaborate, please send in your email or video question and I'd be more than happy to. Okay, so let's dig in. The most common selling mistake. Price. Did you think I was going to say anything else? Realtors are always focusing on price, but here's why. There are 3 major categories that are relevant to a person being a successful seller or someone sitting on the market and nothing happening. And you could probably say what these 3 key elements are with me. It's location, condition, and price. So if you look at these, take location. Can you change the location? Is there anything any of us could do to change that variable? No. Your property is located where your property is located. So then the other 2, you have condition and you have price. Now, the perfect scenario is you price your house given its condition and its location. However, what if somebody said, Joe, I want my house to sell for $50,000 more? Could they manipulate the condition to raise the value so it sells for $50,000 more? In most cases, absolutely. With lots of time and money and expense, you could call a contractor and have them redo your kitchen, put in all new windows, a new roof, add a bathroom, add a garage, all new carpet, on and on and on. In doing all of that, could you justify selling it for $50,000 more? Most likely, sure. But you got to ask yourself, how much time did it take? Was it 6 months? Was it a year? Was it 2 years? And how much money did it take? Now, improvements aren't dollar for dollar, so to do some of these things to elevate your condition, it might have cost $75,000, $100,000, and it isn't worth it financially. So the easiest variable to manipulate is quite simply pricing it correctly. Not underpricing it, not leaving money on the table, just simply not overpricing it. Okay, so most common pitfall number 2. I know I talked about price, but it is important. And what I realized is I talked about the importance of pricing it correctly, but I didn't really shed any light as to why. So I wanted to do this extra additive so you would know why. Roll the clip. I know in some of the common selling mistakes and pitfalls, price is always number one. And that was one of my talking points. One thing I didn't do is necessarily explain the reasons why. And so not only answering the reasons of common selling mistakes, but if I could take a quick moment and shed a little insight as to the reasons why asking more than your house is worth is ineffective, it might shed some light on why that mistake is a selling mistake. So if you look at a home that's overpriced, it is very much the same as hanging out a sign that says overpriced and a home not for sale sign. Here are some of the reasons why. The most activity you get is within the first 2 weeks. And if you look at the showings you get just within the first 2 to 3 weeks, it seems to be the majority. So if you start off listing your house too high, you're going to get an influx of the largest amount of interested people when you're priced incorrectly. Here's another look at that graph. So after week 4 or 5, if you make a price reduction, even though you're closer to market value, you sort of lost some of your sizzle, and it makes it infinitely harder to sell your house if it's not priced correctly out of the gate. Now, regarding pricing, you could have the best marketing campaign in the world, but it will still not sell an overpriced home. So in that example of $50,000, wanting $50,000 more than your home's worth. In this example, let's say your home is worth $365,000, and your home is the one with the red box around it. But instead of pricing it at $365,000, you want to price it up here with all the homes that are $415,000. This is where people fall down. When people are looking for a home in $415,000 price range, they're going to look at your home and they're going to compare it to all of the other homes on the market that are bigger, better, stronger than your house. They're going to have more square footage, another garage, another full bathroom, maybe another bedroom, better condition, better location. So instead of saying, hey, look at this house right here, why don't we offer them $365,000? They're not going to do that. Your house is going to help sell other people's homes, and that's really not the objective. They're going to say, hey, this one here is bigger and better, let's buy this one. So you also need to look at ranges. If people who can afford $415,000, they don't just look for the price of $415,000. They'll look within a range of, say, between $400,000 and $450,000, and they're going to look at everything that pops up. Your house is in the wrong range. Effectively, you are marketing to the wrong group of people. Now, if you look at the people who can afford $365,000, they might look between $335,000 and $400,000. If you're up here at $415,000, your price doesn't even hit their search criteria. So in essence, you are marketing not only to the wrong people, but you are also invisible to the correct people. So the next thing is, how much is too much? Can you push the envelope a little bit? And if so, by what margin? Well, according to RMLS, sold properties closed for an amount averaging 96.99%
of their final list price. That is their last reduced price. They got 96.99%. What does that mean? That means homes sell roughly within 3% of what you're asking to what you actually get. So what does that mean in this price range? If your home is worth $365, an effective listing price would be no more than, say, $375, $376, $377. Beyond that, you're not going to have any positive activity in the form of offers until you're within that range. Those are the reasons why.
Okay, we're back. So the real number 2 most common selling mistake is I'm really not going to come back and say price for a third time, although it is somewhat related, and it has to do with value and asking price. A big mistake is using false numbers to price your home. There's so much out there on the internet that is important to certain entities. For example, insurance companies have replacement value. You have your tax assessment value. You have your tax assessment market value. You can look on Zillow. Some people hang on to a price per square foot or an old appraisal or a recent appraisal. All of these numbers have value to somebody. For an insurance company, they need to know the replacement value. For your taxes, that money goes towards improving schools and streets and parks. But the only thing to be concerned with in selling your home is market value. And market value is obtaining the highest obtainable price in a reasonable amount of time that anyone would pay for during that time frame. That's market value. And how you find that is comparing your home to other homes similar to yours in the area, year built, same location, same amenities, size, lot size, and whatever those sold for, if it's very similar to yours, yours too will sell for that same amount if it is a recent comp. Okay, number 3. Failing to showcase your home. You know, you only have one shot at a first impression. And you saw in my previous example about pricing it correctly from the beginning. You know that most of the showings you get are within the first 2 to 3 weeks. And if you are not staged correctly, if you're not ready to be on the market, don't go on the market until you are. Because all of the people will have seen your house in that condition and they are lost forever. Now, if you took the time, were absolutely ready, and then hit the market, one of those parties that come through in the first 2-3 weeks might be your buyer. Okay, last selling mistake. Finding a good, professional, knowledgeable, seasoned realtor makes all the difference in the world.
Oh, I come from the state of Oregon, where there is a man named Joe. He went to the university that starts with O. He can sell a house to you